What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 49 of Beyond the Finish Line, a running podcast that dives deep into the stories that transcend far beyond the distance. I am your host, Joe Hardin. I am a passionate trail runner myself. I like to say trail, but I'm training for Vol State, as I've talked about quite a bit lately. So I've been becoming a road runner. I'm embracing the road. And that's actually been a lot of fun. I used to kind of tease in a way like road runners, but I've really been having fun running the road. It's taught me a lot. I feel like the trail is kind of fulfills your heart. The road is kind of what builds the resilience, in my opinion. Lately, I don't want to get too far into that, but welcome to episode 49, which 50 episodes. I'm really excited. I can't believe I made it to 50 episodes. So that's next episode. I might do something special for episode 50. I don't know, maybe a solo episode. I don't know. We'll get there. We'll cross that bridge. But so welcome to episode 49. I'm super stoked to be this far with the show. And also, I asked everyone who listens to the pod for 55-star reviews for my 50th episode. And you guys blew it out of the water. I think at the time when I asked everyone for these 5-star reviews, we were at like 43. And last I checked, we had 57 5-star reviews for the network, which is awesome. And thank you all so much. The show is not possible without you. If you're not listening and commenting, which you guys have been doing great, I love this. Like the comments keep rolling on these new episodes. It lets me know you're listening. I love the feedback. Just keep it coming. Like, share, rate, like you've been doing. You guys are crushing it. 57 5-star reviews is huge. Uh, just from the bottom of my heart, thank you. So keep that going. And real quick, this weekend is the Big Four Trail High Five Classic. I am closing signups. Like by the time you hear this, signups will be the race will be over. So just I appreciate everyone who's like a fan of the show who has signed up and who will show up on Saturday. It means a lot to me to build these races, and it's really cool when I meet you all at these events. Like I said, that's something else I can't do without you. So today we have Kevin Katokh on the show, and I met Kevin. I did Kevin's show, Bonus Smiles. It was just so much fun. We just talked music, a little bit of running, and we built like this 60-mile playlist thing, and it was just so much fun. And it's like I feel like I know a little bit about music. So when you talk with someone who knows a lot about music, I mean, it was just so cool. And we had Kevin, me and Jason had Kevin on What's in Earbuds. He is like, super rad. Uh, go check out him on Spotify, or not Spotify, on Instagram. Bonus Smiles, public radio runner. It's really fun what he's doing, and that show is really cool too. He's talked with some like legends, like he had Rachel and Tracken on, which she's been on the show. I really, really loved his take on like what he's doing with that show. It's really refreshing. It's really cool. And obviously Kevin's a runner, and that's kind of what brought us together. Love of music, the love of running is kind of what got us here. So I won't take the words and story away from Kevin. I'll let him do that. But so yeah, let's just bring Kevin forward. Like I said, thank you all so much. I'm blown away by the response to the show. I'm giddy whenever I see those new comments, and I love you all for doing so. So without further ado, let's bring Kevin forward for this conversation. What is that? All
Great.
right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
Like
for
I
having
said,
me.
Bonus Smiles was fun. Me and Jason had you on What's in Your Buds. That was awesome. So I reached out. I wanted to have you on the show. Yeah, I really like what you're doing with the social media side of public radio run. I think it's cool. And so like I do with all my guests, Kevin, I would like you to tell us who is Kevin Cattell.
Well, I don't know how to answer that question. I guess I'm a trash panda, who calls the dumpster behind his public radio station home. I love snacks. I'm almost on the way. I'm only like 1,000 years away from being domesticated and being like somebody's like pet in your house, you know? Otherwise, I'm just like out on the trails or doing media production.
Nice, cool. Yeah. So tell us how you. So tell us about the show first of all. Like I said, I was on it. Like it's been a bit, but I was on it fairly recently, and you've had some really cool guests on. So let's talk about the show first, and then we'll dive into running or whatever. But let's talk about bonus miles.
Yeah, sure. It's a narrative music show that broadcasts on my public radio station and is also available as a podcast. I ask guests to tell me their stories through the playlists that power their runs. And the broadcast clock is very, very rigid. So you have about, as you know, like curating a list of, 10 to 12, which is about 40 or 45 minutes worth of music is actually really difficult. And so too is my job because I take, about 90 minutes of raw audio and I condense that down to about 10 to 12. So it's really fun to get to know who people are as runners and what their stories are through the music or not that they listen to.
Yeah, I struggled with that decision like for a good while because it was like 12. Like I think I had like 12 songs out. I was like, man, that's so tough because it's like, and that could change like every day. Like, if
Mm.
you ask, like, if you do you think if someone were to ask you, like, what's your top 10 favorite songs right now, do you think that would change like day by day or week by week? I mean, I think mine would for sure.
Yeah, I think for some people it would. Like Loki, I'm hoping for a follow up with some guests that I had on because we kind of touched on some like Cocodona stuff, and I'm almost a week and change removed from that now. So it'd be interesting to see, when we were trying to say what is the song or the vibe for like Fane Ranch, or like what is the vibe or the song for like Heritage Square, or like Sedona or things like that. So it'd be interesting to see what actually got you through those sections of the race, and versus what we had before.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's what I love about music. It's just like to me, it's just always evolving. Like, what's my favorite song? I don't know. It's just such a big question. If you had to like single out one single song, I couldn't do it. There's no way. So yeah, so this is a running podcast, but I guess to kind of kick everything off, let's talk. Like, let's just get into it. Like, tell us a bit about your running journey.
Sure. Have make really bad friends, and I use like bad friends in scare quotes. I started out running as a road runner and ultimately switched to trails and the ultra community. This was during the pandemic. So when other people were learning how to make, I don't know, like sourdough bread, like I learned how to run. I couldn't run a mile without stopping. And I downloaded, like maybe as some people have, Couch to 5K, and a 5K kind of snowballed into a 10K that then, really snowballed into like a marathon. Fell in love with it. And there was a colleague I had, and he refused, like so adamantly refused to pay for race registrations because his claim was, why am I going to pay an organization, like $100 or 200, or if it's like a big city marathon, like $200 for the opportunity to run when I can do this in my backyard and do loops. And I was like, okay, you're from San Diego, which is like 3 hours tops, right? If you drive slow, but if you drive like in Arizona, and you can probably make it in like 2.5. And I'm like, look, there's the OG rock and roll marathon in San Diego. It's kind of in summer, but in San Diego, it's cool. For us, it's like hot season. In San Diego, it's cool. I'm like, look, it's gonna cost a couple of bills, and for it's the whole experience, right? Like the VIP and everything. And he's like, begrudgingly, we signed up together. He goes out, rips like a 3:30 on his debut marathon. And I'm just like, oh my God, like that's incredible. We meet up at the water park or the waterfront, and there's a cover band called Saved by the 90s. And we proceed to spend the next, I don't know, like hour or 90 minutes just scream singing bangers. And I looked at him and he looked at me and I was like, it's totally worth it, right? He's like, I guess it was okay. Which is like the highest praise from this guy. And a few months later, just really nonchalantly, he's like, hey man, how's your race schedule looking like in the fall? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I got the Marine Corps marathon coming up. We'll, see after that. And he's like, hey, you want to pace me for the last 15 and a 50 miler I signed up for? And that it broke my brain. I was like, who runs 50 miles? Like, is that even it? Like, I don't even like to drive that far, right? It's like the center bingo for ultra running. Like, ugh, I don't even like to drive that far. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, it's like 15 miles, right? Because you're banging out long runs for marathon training. It's like 20, 23, 21. So 15 is like a drop in the bucket. I show up with like a little race vest, like a liter and a half of water, and like three Morton gels and just get entirely destroyed. And I'm looking at this aid station. I'm like, oh my God, do I have to pay for this food? Like, I don't even know. And these people greet you, like at aid stations, volunteers are so energetic. They're like, hey man, like, what can we do for you? What do you need? Do you need like pickle juice shots? Do you want some ramen, mashed potatoes? I'm like, I don't know. I just need food. This is so hard. And we made it to the finish line. He beat the time of one of our good runner friends. And again, his debut 50 miler. And I was hooked. Like after that pacing event, I was absolutely hooked on trail running. I was like, why would anyone not want to do this? It's amazing. Every 5 to 7 miles, it's an all you can eat buffet. Come on. And the vibes that people bring, the vibes that volunteers bring, and crew who are just kind of like loitering around, that is like unparalleled in the road world. I mean, some people bring some pretty great signs to marathons, but boy, it's nothing like a trail or ultra aid station.
Oh, absolutely. What do you think's like what's your favorite aid station like food or snack?
Ooh, I think it's still the first time that I ran Sedona Canyons, which is half a Cocodona. I got there for breakfast and I made a basically giant McGriddle. They're like, hey man, we still have some like hamburger patties from like the night that we have like cooking on the flat top. And I was like, that sounds amazing. They're like, we also have pancakes. And I was like, that also sounds pretty great. So I went pancake, patty, eggs, pancake.
Oh, the McGriddle.
Yeah.
Nice. What do you think's like the weirdest thing you've ever had at an aid station?
Oh, undeniably, pickle juice shot. I was like,
Pickle
who
juice?
does this? But I had to see what the hype was about. And I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. Still,
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but they had like this huge jar of like Costco pickles, and they were just like pouring it off into shot glasses. I was like, yeah, I've seen like buckets, like pails
yeah.
of pickle juice at them. Like what?
Yeah, like
Uh,
Home Depot, like 5 gallon buckets worth. You're like, this is for a restaurant, I guess. Also, it's for ultra running. But how about you?
but yeah, and I think my favorite snack. Well, my favorite food is I did a backyard a couple years ago, and they had pierogies, and it was like yeah, and it was like in April, but it was like unseasonably cold, and these pierogies were hot, like really hot, and it was just like they were so savory and just like kind of warmed me up. And then I remember the not the maybe the weirdest food, but certainly like the weirdest like way I've eaten aid station food is I really like I was at like it was like during the night, so I was like mile 60 something
Mm,
of a 100 miler, and I like grabbed a piece of cheese pizza and like folded it and like stuck it in my vest pocket
that's awesome.
and like and because I was like up against cutoffs. And I remember I was just like running down this hill, like eating a piece of cheese pizza, and I was like, "This has to look really strange." Like if you were looking on the outside in, just seeing like this, like yeah, like your point, like watching this like trash panda like run through the woods eating a greasy piece of cheese pizza at like 2 a.m.
You're just living your best, like, ultra runner man life. You're like, hey, man, like, meet me at mile marker 25. I rolled an extra large pizza up and just, like, ran to the next town.
That's awesome. What was your first? What was that first trail run you did?
The I got tricked into running Black Canyon. It was the last year that they had a 60K.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, they tell you, because it's a net downhill race, you toe the line in like Mayer, Arizona, and it's chilly AF. It's so cold. And they're like, hey man, it's all downhill from here. But what they don't tell you, and I certainly did not look at the elevation profile because I didn't even know what that was. Uh, it may be net down, but there's like some pretty serious climbs that happen in that race. A notable one is like after the Bumblebee aid station, which is about mile 20, whether you're in the 60K or the 100K, and oof, yeah, that's climb. After you've just like stuffed your face full. And like I want to say like 2 weeks after I finished that race, I was like, F it, we ball, and I signed up for Sedona Canyons. And that was my
Oh,
second ultra.
that Sedona Canyon. So you just did that recently, right? Or did you do 250 this year?
Yeah, I did Cocodona this year. Or I
Nice.
tried at least, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I guess, but like run us through like the progression of like you do Black Canyons, you do Sedona, and then like you like well, you don't have to take us all the way to Cocodona, but like what was like the progression of like your journey, like leading up to the decision to sign up for Cocodona 250?
Yeah, I mean, partly Sedona Canyons was appealing because of the time cutoffs, right? Like it's running off the Cocodona clock. And so you have a lot of time actually to do 125 miles. So I knew that that was going to give me the best opportunity to perhaps finish and just like enjoy a really beautiful route. I think that the Cocodona route in general is just very, very intentional and very thoughtful in how it's planned. That brings you through the Sonoran Desert, like up Lane Mountain, which is atrocious. But what they don't tell you is like the first 100K of Cocodona is actually quite awful. Like there's so much climbing. And then once you hit like Ponderosa Pines, kind of on the Prescott side, and then cross over, and then you get Sedona, of course, the Red Rocks, and then you're back up on the Coconino Plateau at with Pines, and you're I don't know maybe at a base of 7K elevation. It's beautiful. So I went from Sedona Canyons. I was like, oh my god, this was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and just reaffirmed that like trail is the way to go. And
Yeah.
so after that, I signed up for Aravaipa's Dirt series. They have one in the fall and one in the spring, and so I signed up for both. And so it's basically an ultra every single month. And I did a couple in California, so that was maybe from September or August until March or April. I had an ultra every single month.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's that's got to be intense.
Yeah. The end middle was really hard because I went from November was the McDowell Mountain Frenzy. So you're at the Fort McDowell Park where Javelina 100 is held, but they make you climb to Thompson Peak, which is awful after you've done like two big climbs and have 30-ish miles on your feet. So yeah, that was a good time. And then in December, I think you kind of get a break, but right at the end of that is Cold Water 100 kicks you off. And then a couple of weeks after that, I think I had a 50K and that was really miserable.
Oh god. Whew. Yeah, that
And then
sounds
it
like a
was yeah.
yeah. That sounds wild. So what do you think between all like between become like starting as a road runner, which you just went straight into the marathon distance, right? Like that was like your first. That was like your first. That's wild. Oh no, you said you did a couch to 5K, right? But still, you go from marathon to road, or like marathon to trail. All the way up now to these like bigger distance. Like, what do you think? I guess I'm curious. Like after that transition, what do you think you learned? Like Kevin as a road runner who was training for a marathon, and like Kevin as like a trail runner, ultra runner now. What do you think? Like the differences between those like two versions of a runner is.
Mm. Road running is really hard. And it's like just like full stop. Road running is really, really hard. And the thing like I don't like to kind of compare the two communities because I think they're like pretty different. But when you see like kind of where they came from, and marathoning is kind of like an extension of like track and field, and you're just like, it's me, let's go, it's pace, like it's seconds that matter, right? And I think the trail ultra community really started like very dirt baggy. It's like grassroots. We're just like out there having a good time. And so I think there was a lot more community support in trail and ultra that I felt as a beginner trail runner than I ever felt when I was in road running. You're like
Yeah,
together, but ironically so alone.
yeah, it's like that you captured that well because I always try to think of it like obviously it's like I've becoming more of a road runner just because of the nature of like what I'm training for lately. But yeah, it's funny. Like I'll talk to some of my road running friends who are like, I could never, I couldn't imagine running like a 50K or 50, or 100K or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I couldn't imagine running. Like I never actually had ran an official marathon. I mean, I've done like that distance for other things, but the idea of running like a straight road marathon terrifies me. Like
Mm.
that sounds really, really like training for one sounds daunting. Like I just don't know if I have it in me to do that. Like, and I think I would rather, I don't know, maybe run a trail 50 miler than probably do a road marathon. That sounds painful.
Yeah. If you like race a marathon, like whatever that pace is for you, right? Like I really don't care about pace. But like whenever you choose to race a marathon, like when you look at the elites, for example, they're doing like 2 marathons a year, right? Like that's how awful that experience is. And so I think general people are more inclined to look at pace and speed, and when you look at ultras, it's just about the distance, right? They're just like, oh my God, I could never think of running, like insert distance. And they don't have the sense for pace of like what a 345 or like a 330 50K would mean, right? They just don't have like the reference point that we would for that. So that's kind of why I don't like to compare them. And what I would celebrate in both is like be so proud of yourself. Look at what you and your body did, whether that's like 13-1, 26-2, 253 miles, right? Like whatever that distance is, like be proud of yourself because you started somewhere where you maybe weren't able to run a mile constantly. And now you're out there doing like things that people think are crazy. So don't
Yeah,
forget that, I guess.
yeah. I like that you said that because I was thinking, even like my first 50K, my first 5K, like how big of a deal that was. Like that's still like it's funny. I've been asked a lot of questions about my running journey, like what was like the most memorable run and like experience, and I always come back to like the very first 5K I ever did will always mean something to me because it was the first thing I ever trained for. Like I showed up for a thing. I ran. I don't even know what my time is. Like just like you, I may remember my times for like a day, and then it's like, I always try to think. I always try to think in terms of like what did I learn, like what did I experience, like throughout the training cycle, and like through the events, kind of like the cherry on top of all that. But to my point, like my 5K, my first 5K will always be like kind of like a benchmark in my running story journey, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, absolutely celebrate all those things. It doesn't have to be 250 like 250 miles sounds pretty awesome, but it doesn't have to be that either. So yeah, definitely, I'm glad that you said that.
What was your takeaway from your first 5K?
I was just so like I was just so blown away that I was able to do something like that. Like, I, not to get too deep and all that, but I was you touched on COVID. Well, during COVID, I got sober and then started running, and like so it was like this whole thing, and I led like a very sedentary life up until I started training for that 5K. So I just couldn't believe I could cover that kind of distance, and that always it just that's still I mean still special to me. Like, when people say just a 5K or just this, I'm like, no, it's like so incredible.
Mm.
Like, think about all the miles you put in to get to that start line. So
What kept you consistent in training?
I just really, honestly, it's like, I don't know if I'm like a process runner, 'cause I don't really dive too deep into. It's funny, my like day job is so data driven,
Mm,
and so my training is like I'm like morphing into kind of like a dirtbag trail runner, right? It's like I just want to see, like I just want to like crawl up to the woods and like take pictures of mushrooms and
yeah.
moss stumps, and but what kept coming back is just like I just really love getting out there, and like I really love experiencing like my community on my feet. That's something I like always like to tell people. It's like you don't have to run it, but just walk it. Like go out your front door and just go down a new road. And like I've lived in this town for 20 something years, and I've been doing like the city strides thing,
Mhm.
and I'm almost done. And I see stuff in my own town. I've lived here since the '90s, and I see stuff in my own town that I didn't know was there, and just like wow, like so. I just feel like maybe what kept me coming back was like experiencing some new things and like experiencing it on your feet instead of like normal, like when you're like zipping around in your car, like you don't get to see all like the nuances of like your own backyard really.
Yeah.
So I guess to flip that question, what do you think keeps you coming back to train and like show up to these start lines and so on?
I think the first 5K I completed, I wasn't even done with the program. I just signed up for it. Like I was surfing the web one day and was like, "Oh, I guess we're doing the park runs are open again. Let's sign up." It's like $20, right? Like why not? They're chip timed, and I can tell you that that was probably like the worst 30 or 40 minutes of my life. I like redlined the entire thing. I finished. It took me a while to like discard all of like the hate, right? I was like, "Oh my God, that was the worst experience ever." Only to realize that actually it was like classic type 2 fun. And I never ever thought of myself as a runner. Like I used to go to the gym and like lift like heavy things. I'm like, "Oh, now I realize also that is important too." Uh And it occurred to me that I may not be a runner, like I don't consider myself a rider, even though like I do that. But it just sort of like dawned on me like, oh, I guess I am kind of living that label now. How cool. I never thought that I would finish a 5K. And because this was also part of like a weight loss journey, I was like pretty intense about the like dedication of like tracking macros. I like weighed my food to a tenth of a gram. I kind of planned like runs out pretty consistently. And that sort of helped prepare for marathon training because then it was just like, oh, okay, like you're doing Yasso 800s today, or like, oh, you're doing a long run and it's 18 miles long. And I just kind of got into a groove. Ultra running was a little bit different, I guess, and I took a more kind of lackadaisical approach to it, I guess, where you're like, oh, I just spent 12 hours on my feet, even though I wasn't running. I'm like, that counts. Like, I got 4 hours of sleep tonight. Like, that counts. And then it was no longer about hitting specific pace marks, though sometimes I still do speed work. I love Yasso 800s from marathon workouts. Those are just so awful but so great at the same time. But it's just like going out there trying to maintain some sort of basis and then training for what you need. So I did a lot of climbing. I did a lot of vert for Cocodona.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's something that I'm so like. I live in like the flattest state ever, so my vert is like on this treadmill over here. But
Yeah,
I do,
yeah,
yeah, Yasso 800s are pretty awful, but they do feel like you do feel kind of feel like a badass though when you're like when you almost get through them. You're like, I just did all that. Like that's pretty that's pretty cool. So what? Okay, so that's what kept you coming back. I guess I'm always curious, like what do people like learn about them? Like I might even ask this multiple times about certain like experiences, But what do you think? Like during the 5K, let's go all the way back to the first 5K. What did you learn about yourself after like completing that 5K, training for it and completing it?
I learned that physically pushing through a mental barrier feels kind of great after the fact. In the same way that I love Yasso 800s, because when you get to the last rep, when you're like on rep 9 and you get your little floaty thing for 400 meters, and you go into the last one and you're like, when I go back and look at my Garmin data, that's going to automatically post to Strava. There's like three people who are going to look at this, but like I will secretly know that I did this last rep like faster than I was supposed to. And then you feel really good about that. In the same way that when you get to the last kind of like third of a 5K, when you're at, have like a K and a half to go, and it's like awful, right? This is like the most painful thing. You're breathing really hard and you're like, I'm not gonna, it's like you dissociate and you're like, I'm not gonna let the quitter in me like get the best of me right now. Like, I'm gonna negative split this, even though it's gonna hurt so much. And I think like the doctoral program that I was in like really abuses you mentally. So like I was kind of prepared for that side of running, but I wasn't ready for how you needed to physically push through mental barriers. And that's what I learned in road running a lot. And in ultras, because the distance is so drawn out and you can't just use these little like mind tricks to be like, oh, like you got a K and a half to go. You're like, I have 233 miles to go. Like, and I'm gonna walk like a good majority of this, right? Or there's like these really awful climbs. That like mind trick doesn't work the same as it does like in a shorter race, especially if it's a speedy one too. And so I think what ultra running taught me is if you are open and willing to it, it can be a really interesting catalyst for self discovery. And that if you are so fortunate to have the opportunity for someone in your circle or a complete stranger, right, who chooses willingly to pace you, that is such an intimate experience. Like they will see who you are as a human being at your absolute rock fucking bottom and also at your like highest level of the highest. You're like, "Oh man, like nothing's going to stop me now." And like
You,
everything in between.
absolutely, yeah. You made me think about my first 100K, and it's funny because so I ended up like kind of buddying up with this guy named Danny. It's funny because it's like we still will touch base with each other.
Mhm.
It was both of our first 100Ks, and this 100K had like a 7 p.m. start time.
Ooh,
And
wow.
yeah, yeah, it's in like June. Like I know Arizona gets hot, Indiana gets hot, but it gets like hot and like 80% humidity. So I think the racetrack,
Ooh.
yeah, yeah, it gets swampy here, and it was just like miserably hot and humid. It got more humid at night too. And this
Oof.
place, and this, yeah, and Morgan Monroe Forest is like a a bog to some extent with like creek crossings, and it's like a very like lush fern gully. It's like already kind of rainforesty feeling, anyways. And whatever. So I ended up like I kept like pogoing with this guy, and like at one point we just looked at each other like, "Do you just want to like run together?" And me and that guy, that we heard each other as like, yeah, like the struggle. Like I knew so much about this guy by the time the sun rose, and it's like it's almost like we're like trauma bond. We're like connected through trauma
Yeah.
now forever. So yeah, absolutely. It's like he heard me like complain. I heard him complain. We talked each other out of DNFing a couple times.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll always remember the first 100K, and then I'll always remember Danny. So we shared so many miles together. It's funny. It's like I didn't even know what he looked like for hours either. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like the sun finally rose. It's like, oh hey, how's it going? Oh yeah, yeah. You'll learn some stuff about people in those moments.
And to start off with night running is so hard.
Ah, yeah. I've learned to like love it to some extent, but that first like overnight the overnight run I did was just it was awful, and I didn't know what I was doing. Now I kind of enjoy it. Like I enjoy like pacing at night too. It's like I don't know what it is about like just like being on the trail with just kind of like that tunnel of your light. It almost feels like you're like in a cocoon almost in a weird way.
Mm.
It's like having a safety blanket wrapped around you while you're. I don't know how to explain that. I was trying to explain to someone why I love running at night now. I used to hate it. It used to terrify me, but now I'm just like I don't know. It just feels like a blanket. It's like you're just kind of and all you have to do is just like worry about your headlight and then just keep moving. And you don't get to see the climbs. So there you go.
Yeah, that is a definite benefit of night running. You're like, ooh, I do not have to see the totality of what I must climb.
And,
It's like
unless
10 feet in
yeah,
front of me.
unless you see someone's headlight like way up there in the distance, like I have to go up there. Like no.
Just gaslight yourself. Be like, that's like a really bright star. It's like a street lamp. You're like, we're in the middle of a forest. What do you, I'm like, no, it's aliens, okay? It's aliens. It's aliens or a star. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's a do you like do you have like obviously you probably prefer to run during the day, but do you have any like struggles or like with night running? I mean obviously you're tired, but like how do you get through that? Like how do you like navigate those like wee hour headlamp miles?
This is gonna sound so effed up. In the context of like anything under 100 miles, I'm fine with night running and kind of enjoy it. Thankfully, I did a lot of early morning running with the when I was like indoctrinated into the trail group I run with now. And that was like immensely valuable. But what I discovered in this round is when you get to like day 3 or 4 and you have like zero sleep. I mean, I think I got maybe 250 minutes of total sleep over 5 days. Running it was really bad for me because the bobbing of like headlights made me really want to.
Oh,
And you would try like so hard just to focus. You like it's a page just your own light, and I would just like doze off. I was like, oh my god, this is so hard. But every single sunrise, no matter how sleep deprived you are, there's just something really weird about like seeing natural light come up that just kind of like snaps you out and gives you like a little boost of hope. So there's always a sunrise to look forward to if it's like 100 miler. And then if you're at the for me, like at for most 50s, I'm gonna have to run with a headlamp, but it's not gonna be for like the entire night. So you know that at the end of this, there's gonna be like friends, there's gonna be hot food, there's gonna be like good vibes. Or like 100. I've actually never done 100K. Javelin 100K is gonna be like my first technical like 100K race.
nice. It's like the perfect distance. It's like I mean obviously I'm training for a multi-day, but I think like the 100K it's like you get it's like really it takes a long time, but you still like at least for me I'm not totally destroyed usually, and it's like you still can probably sleep most likely get to sleep in a bed like fairly soon.
Ooh, true.
So and maybe even get to come home, which it depends on how far away it is. But yeah, so you talked about like day two, day three, and that's like what I'm really excited about because you know I'm diving into multi-day stuff in July, my first multi-day.
Yeah,
So
Bull
I've been
State.
yeah, I'm really excited. So I've been like hitting up all my multi-day runner friends, and they always keep telling me about. I've heard at least two people tell me about day three magic, and it's like what is this? Like yeah, it's like you get to like this point like that day two, day three sunrise, where just like something will just hit you. It's almost like transcendental in a way. And it's like I cannot wait to experience that moment. I hope it happens for me.
I really hope it does too. I'm so excited for you, by the way. I ran with this guy who has done Bull State actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, it's wild to wrap my mind around what I'm taking off to do, but it's been fun to train for so far.
Yeah. You're gonna lose like absolute sense of what day it is. It's really trippy. And dirt naps, I never appreciated because I don't think I ever had the opportunity, like distance wise, to really engage and appreciate what like a 10 to 15-minute dirt nap does for you.
I'm excited to be like maybe be that spent where I can take like because like like with like 100K or like I've done a couple like multi-day like the 4x4x48 things, but I wasn't like tired enough to sleep like on the ground,
Yeah.
and I was able to like come home for those. It's like I want to be so spent. I will just be like comfortable with like sleeping like in the dirt or like pine needles or whatever I can find. Like I'm actually like looking forward to that. Sounds weird. Only trail runners might say something like that, but I'm like really excited about it.
I'm so excited for you. I hope that other people get to experience this like very crazy, like sounding, but also kind of amazing experience of dirt naps.
Do you do anything? Like, I've noticed, like at least in my experience with like the first sunrise, I always like to like I like try to like follow what my normal like morning routine is, and if I have like the opportunity, I like brush my teeth and like you like something about that hits on that sunrise. It like yeah, it's like you're waking up from like on Wednesday morning to get ready for work, except for you're on the side of a trail somewhere.
Ooh, yeah, that's a great question. Cosine on the little like baby toothbrushes that you don't need water for or whatever. Like I packed a bunch of those and do not regret that at all. That was the absolute right call. As for like following your normal routine in the first morning, I'm a little bit conflicted because I experienced that at the very tail end of a really awful climb up to Mount Union where I was like cursing Aravaipa and the race directors for making us do that climb. It was like 3K in the last like 4 miles of that 10-mile segment. It was absolutely horrendous.
Wow, that's bonkers. So you're like I have yet to experience any trails out there. I'll be finding a reason to go out to Phoenix soon. Actually, very soon.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
well, yeah, someone in this network. I don't want to say it out loud, name wise, is moving to Phoenix. So I will be going out to Phoenix. So I'm really excited to. I've been to Mount Lemon, so I've been out there before, but I've never
Yep.
like experienced trail running out there, and it just like the trails in the Midwest are beautiful. They're like rooty and like real green and real rocky, but like all the stuff that I'm seeing from like the wet my like all my out west trail running buddies, it's like it like looks like so wide open and like expansive and like there's like all these beautiful rock formations, and so I'm really looking forward to experiencing some of that out that way hopefully soon.
I'm so excited for you. Yeah. Any like basically any of the state parks, hopefully, your friend will get like a an annual pass. I think they're like $80. And that'll get you in. Otherwise, like South Mountain in the Phoenix area is a really popular place to run, and it's also free and incredibly beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, so dig like if you want to get into your Cocodona 250 experience this year.
Ooh. Yeah, what an adventure that was. I thought it would be a great idea to make one bad decision into two. So the first was, like signing up. I don't know how I got in. Like that was an absolute fluke. There's so many server
Oh,
crashes.
yeah.
And the next one was let's run with a microphone to make an audio documentary for public radio. Also, that was a bad idea. This is like part of it's broken down now, but this was like part of the kit that I ran with.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Uh so Kogo's pretty crazy. My delusional goal was if I make it to Prescott, then I think I'm gonna finish the race. And Prescott's, I don't know, like mile 75 or something. And it's because the first probably like 100K, you do more than a third of the total climbing of the race up the Bradshaw Mountains, which are just like completely unforgiving. And that segment from Arasta Creek to Camp Kippa, which is the first major like sleeping aid station, was just straight up disrespectful. Like there is cruel and unusual, and then there's just like like you get to a point where you can see this kind of like a radio tower on the top, and there's just this like beautiful like winding trail that like kind of snakes off to your left, and you like look to your right and there's three orange flags up this janky steep ass like little hill, and you're like, no, this can't be it. Like somebody must have vandalized the course, and you like look up and there's more confidence markers, and you're like, really, guys? Really? So yeah, that was insane. And once you hit Prescott, then you go on to the Dells, which is just beautiful. I mean, it's a lot of. I had to do a lot of scrambling there. There's no way that that was going to be a runnable section, but it doesn't last very. It's like 2 miles, maybe 2.5, and then you kind of work your way eastward. So you go over Mingus, and that's absolutely beautiful. You wind through mountains and forests up there, and from Mingus you descend into Jerome, and then Jerome to Sedona, Sedona to like outside of Flag, and then they kind of take you on a crazy loop eastwards instead of west to bring you back in. When I was in outside of Sedona, there from the aid station before, I want to say that it's Deer Pass to Sedona. It's maybe like 16-ish miles, and there's a water station in between. And mostly for the first half of that, like you're climbing up, and then once you hit the water station, then it like kind of descends, and I was just so cooked at that point. We hit the water station with the pacer. I'm like falling asleep going down, find this giant flat rock, and I'm like, all my winter gear on, cocoon in a space blanket, wake me up in 20 minutes. Wake up, slam a gel with caffeine, and I'm like, oh my God, like, dude, let's go. And we just ripped it, which was an awful choice. I should have like this was a major lesson that I learned. Even though you may feel good, don't full send a night run descent when you have like 134 miles on your legs. Like, poor choice. So I was anticipating getting into the Sedona aid station at like 3:30 at the earliest, like probably 4:30 in the morning. We made it there at like 2:35 a.m.
Oh wow, yeah, you sent it then.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
felt great. Poor choice. Wake up in the morning, feeling kind of good because I had a long sleep. There was like an hour or maybe like 70 minutes. Like it's a pretty solid amount of sleep. Wake up in the morning and it's like absolutely beautiful outside again. And I start to send it down a trail, land wrong, and I'm like, ooh, left quad, not good. And by the time I made it to the Hangover Trail, you're climbing up like Slick Rock, which, despite its name, is surprisingly grippy when it's dry. And I'm like, this is not good. So I think, okay, like I have time. We have like collected a pretty good buffer against the cutoff that I can take like a 20 or 30-minute nap to see if this makes it better. It does absolutely nothing. I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, this hurts so much. I call my best friend who's a doctor of physical therapy. And I'm like, Sean, I think I really effed up my quad. Like, we're FaceTiming and like walking through an evaluation on the trail. And he's like, dude, I think you tore one of your quad muscles.
Oh,
And he's like, I know this sounds bad, but like, don't let it be something that like detracts you from the race. Like, you can still make it. It's, like, it's just not going to feel really great. And like, obviously, as a physical therapist, I'm like, you need to not complete this race and like rest. And I'm like, well, I've already made it this far, so I'm gonna keep going. And the solution is compression. He's like, do you have an ace bandage or like Coban? I'm like, no, I don't. And so as these hikers and who are out and about just on the trail and like other Cocodona runners are passing, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Does anyone have an ace bandage? It's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't. Or like, oh, I might, but oh, just kidding, I don't. And so I was like, okay, Sean, I have rain pants, extra shock cord, and like a bongo tie for like my audio gear. Can I fashion something out of this? And I do that like probably 8 or 9 miles in from the Sedona aid station. So I still have a ways to go till Schnebley, which is the next major aid station where they have a med tent. And walk it in. This dude sees me walking towards the med tent with this janky like MacGyver bandage on, and he's like, "Bro, what is that?" I'm like, "Well, it was my best attempt at a compression bandage, is what that was." And so they bring some people in. They're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, like it kind of sounds like this is the case. We're not trained to do that." And I'm FaceTiming again, my best friend. They're holding my phone because they can't like wrap my leg, and get the ace bandage on, feeling a lot better. And then I take my socks off to get new tape on them. And this guy, the same guy who greeted me, is like, "Bro, like your right ankle is the size of a baseball." I'm like, "No, it's not." And I like look down, and like, "Oh, like it's not supposed to be that big, I don't think." Like baseball is a little bit hyperbolic, but like it's not supposed to be that big, I'm pretty sure. And so now I have like a torn left quad, and it's only one muscle though, right? So I'm like, whatever, we're gonna be okay. And then a probably sprained ankle on the other side. And I'm like, look, we made it to like 175. Like, we're definitely not quitting because my other friend is picking me up at Munns Park, which is like, I don't know, like 16 miles away or whatever. And I'm like, I have to meet him. Like, he dropped everything that he was doing this week to come pace me. So I must make it and like respect his sacrifice and support, right? Because it's completely selfless. And so I meet him at Munns. Like now my left ankle is pretty effed up and my right ankle is pretty effed up. And I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. I thought we were going to be able to shuffle a lot of these fire roads because they're super runnable. And I'm like, I think the best I can do is like speed walk at this point in time. And he's like, bro, it's totally fine. Like, we're here to support you. Like, we're gonna get this done. Like, you've already made it this far. Kelly Canyon is the next aid station, and it's like mile 201. And I'm like, OMG, I've never gone this far in my life. Like, after Jerome, right? Like, every single step I took was the furthest distance I've ever been. And so
Oh,
we
cool.
kind of like death march to Kelly Canyon, and like the prognosis is like now looking good. And Tuttle is a major aid station right around the corner. It's like 10 miles away. And we're like, okay, let's reassess. We have scheduled like a big nap there. We've got time still. Probably it's going to be okay. Walk into the medical area there, and I'm like, okay, do you guys have extra tape? The drop bag that I had here like blew up, and all the things that I needed are like soaked in Coke right now. Like, this is not viable. And the guy who's like greeting me like looks at my feet. He's like, "Bro, your dogs look like they hurt." I'm like, "Yeah, they've probably seen better days." And as he's like making this kind of like snide remark, some like volunteer walks by and is like, "That's a medical DNF," and he like mouths to me like, and I'm like, "Right?" And so this is just like more motivation that like, if anything, I'm gonna make it to the end. Like, I'm not gonna let you have like the satisfaction of me medically DNFing because my feet are kind of messed up. And so there happens to be another DPT at this aid station. And so we kind of like check in and do an evaluation. I explain the scenario to her, and she's like, "Yeah, same thing. As a DPT, I'm like, probably you should stop and rest. But as an athlete, I'm like, aid station by aid station." And that's what that was the plan, because at that point we probably had still, despite some pretty big setbacks, a 6 or 7 hour buffer against the cutoff. So like time wise we were okay. And as we were like going towards Walnut Canyon, which is a pretty big section, it's like 16 or 17 miles, I kind of like ate it pretty bad going down a descent, and messed up my left ankle. And I was like, ooh, like I don't know about this. And that was the first time that real doubt kind of like crept into my mind, because there was just such little stability I had doing eccentric motion, like going down, that I fast forwarded to the Eldon descent and was like, oh man, like it's so janky. There's just like really big jumps that you take, like step downs that are like not small. It's like giant stairs basically. And the ascent, like the climb is fine because it's like switchbacks and it's like pretty graded and like kind of nice. And so we're making our way through Kelly Canyon, or not Kelly Canyon, Walnut Canyon to the aid station there. And my pacer is communicating with my best friend who's the DPT, and he's like, dude, I don't know. Like, we're gonna need to do another like reevaluation when we get there. His whole family comes. They have like a 3.5 year old who's just like so happy to be out on trails. He's just like in the woods, like living his best life, not knowing that there's an entire race going on, and just like brings the vibes for like the last quarter mile in. And I'm like, oh my God, how can you not be motivated by that? We hop into the med tent once we get the aid station, and we're like, okay, like we have to have our kind of come to Jesus moment now. And I'm like, is there any like, rabbit we can pull out of the hat to like really mitigate some of this? And he's like, dude, you know the answer, right? And I was like, damn, I think so. And so we're now probably like 2.5, 3 hours buffer with the cutoff, the sun's setting, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to get from Walnut to the next aid station, which is only 7 away, and then do Eldon up and down basically at night, and it's going to be cold AF. Is that worth the risk? I don't know. And then I think eventually I realized that maybe it isn't worth it because there's just so much eccentric motion that I would have like needed to get off of Eldon, and it was like a little bit bittersweet, but also Walnut Canyon was 226 or 227. And I was like, oh my God, buddy, like, I never thought we could do this. You just have a marathon left. And so, like, in a very long winded way, that was like my Cocodona adventure. And like, there's so many people I met along the way. Uh, and it was just an adventure. The 200-mile like distances like very appealing now. Like multi-day races are kind of crazy in the best kind of way.
Nice, man. That sounds like a heck of a journey. Oh, we lost we lost Kevin briefly.
Oh, ooh,
Hey, but yeah,
we're
that sounds like
back.
yay. Yeah, that sounds like an incredible journey though. That's rad. So huge PR, huge PR. Because I mean, you said yeah, you blew your PR like distance PR out of the water. Because Sedona 125, you made it all the way to 220 plus. That's incredible. Um, yeah, it sounds like quite the journey. And hey, uh, there's always redemption for the buckle, but still, I mean, you made it 200 something odd miles. That to me, that's uh, that's pretty rad. At the end of the day, that's really rad. What like I guess like I'm always go back to this question, but like what like in those moments, like when I mean, I know it's probably so like you're having to like do some like crazy ass MacGyver shit, and like
Hmm.
yeah, I know you were hurting. Obviously, like hopefully you're having a speedy recovery, and like what like going back to like my core question is like, what did you learn about yourself on like those and like those moments? I mean, I know they had to be some pretty low lows, and probably some really high highs, but
You're more resilient than you think you are. And it wasn't so much a running takeaway as, I mean, this is so embarrassing actually to say out loud. But I think my biggest lesson from that race was three people, or like more than three people, the three pacers I had, and then my best friend, Sean, his wife, and their child, like basically dropped everything out of their lives for that week to come support me. Like it was the most selfless act that anyone could do to say, hey, you're going on this crazy ass adventure and we want to be there to help you and support you through that. And when I realized that they had dropped and sacrificed so much of their daily life just to help me in this silly little race that I had signed up for like a year ago, I was like, oh my God, there is so much love in my like small network of friends that I had never like seen or felt so explicitly. And that was my major takeaway is you can always you are more resilient than you think and you are much more loved than you will ever imagine. Like even if you're doing these events solo without crew or pacers, you never really do it alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hardly ever ask for like career pacers, but I've never felt like true. I mean, obviously you'll be on the trail alone for a little bit, but at times, sometimes for longer than normal, but you never really feel like truly alone. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Yes, profound. Thank you for sharing that. Actually, um, yeah. So obviously, I couldn't have you on the show without asking this the most important question. Um, so what do you like? You know, we host What's in Earbuds. So I have a question like, what's right now? What's hitting on your playlist? You don't have to give me a top five. Just like what's maybe what's on repeat or what's something is just like really hitting lately with your running or life playlist. Doesn't have to be can be either one of those.
Ooh, that's a good question. I didn't listen to music at all during Cocodona.
Really nice. I rarely do
Mm-mm.
for ultras either. I try to be like kind of present, but so let's say maybe what are you listening to like a non-running aspect? What's something that's been kind of on repeat or something that's just been really hitting lately for you?
But there were some songs that I like. I don't know if other people do this or I'm just crazy. Where you sometimes, I never thought, I've never run that far before, right? I was like, okay, I've done 100 milers without music, I've done 125s without music. But there's a point, like past Schnebly, where like it hit pretty low. And because I asked people about music and I asked people on trail too, and like before the race, got some tape. And I would play their songs back in my head to like
Ooh,
help me like go through. So I remember this one part where like I was just death marching on a fire road, just trying to desperately make it to Munns Park. Like the sun is setting, I'm like kind of sleepwalking. And then you'd have people just like ripping it through and it's like drive slow, lots of dust. I'm like and I asked two people at the beginning of the race, this is like right before we towed the line. I was like, if you could have the DJ play a walk-up song, what would that be?
ooh,
And one lady's like, I don't know who the artist is, but I think it's something like This Is My Fight Song. And I was like, oh, like I know what you're talking about. And so we like kind of sang like the chorus together. They're like, This is my fight song. And like that's what I was like singing, just the chorus like on repeat to just get me through this like awful death march. And then like a little bit of like K-pop Demon Hunters, like Golden, but just like the chorus, like we're going up, up, up. Because I'm like, we're kind of going up, 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 but really, I think I'm going like down, down, down. But like, whatever, good vibes, right? Good vibes. Like we're going up, up, up. And so just like playing parts of that back kind of helped get me out of a low and really like anchor me in a mile because I think it's such a silly and common like mantra, like run the mile you're in, but sometimes that's so hard to ground yourself in when you're like, the most I can go is like 3 miles an hour and I have 16 miles left. Like that's just a horrible thought. But if you're like, okay, like I've gone zero point 0.1 miles, I've gone zero point 0.2 miles, like I've gone zero point 0.5. I'm like, oh my God, I've gone half a mile. Like we only have like zero point 0.5 left in this mile. And like these little things of like, this is my fight song. You're like, oh, that got me like another like 0.12. Like, yes.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's so hard to like stay in the moment. Like you talk about fast forwarding. I always catch myself doing that. Like, you cannot think about the fact that you have to do this for like 20 something, 30 something more miles. Like
Yeah.
just kind of worry about what's in front of you right now. It's so hard to not do sometimes. And once you get caught in that like spiral, it's just like, phew, it'll get the best of you. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's both pretty rad songs. I don't think I've heard that K-pop Demon Hunter song, but it'll be on my playlist now since
That
you
entire album slaps so hard. It's
it'll
pretty
definitely be on.
fire.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'll put it on our What's in Your Earbuds playlist, which is like almost up to 100 hours, which is pretty
Ooh,
wild. But
nice.
yeah, it got way up there. Um, so, and like I said, I gave you some time to think about this question, kind of in kind of before we hit record. But what's if you were to leave us with some closing advice? Maybe new runners. There's newer runners, there's veteran runners listening to the show. What would be some closing advice to anybody that might be listening?
If you're just getting into running, or if you've been running for a while, just like F the pace. Forward is a pace. And especially if you're going into a really low, that's gonna like repeat a lot. Like if you're in an ultra distance, as those like lows kind of come often. But so do highs. Like when there's a low, it's also followed by a high, right? Like just remember, if you start to spiral, like the silliest things can like pull you back. Run the mile you're in, like be present in that. And if you think it's so awful, one, I guess, laugh at yourself and remember like we chose this, right? But like more so than that, which is what I'm take took away from Coco, is there's so many people around you who may not tell you explicitly, but their actions most definitely do, is that you are so loved. And the
Absolutely.
people who are around you, who you trauma bond with, also, I would say, like by and large, also want you to succeed. So even though that low may seem so awful, like I'm by myself, it's 30 degrees, we're on top of the Coconino Plateau, there's no one out here, not a soul, like woe is me. Remember that. Like you are so loved. There's so much support that went in so that you could be here and enjoy this crazy ass adventure. And if that is not enough to like ground you in like the point 0.1 mile that you're in, then man, I don't know. So like
Yeah.
run with gratitude, man.
Oh man, absolutely. Run with gratitude. I love that.
Because yeah, when you have gratitude in the palm of your hands, like it's so hard for other negative emotions to like cohabitate with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless someone's like challenge accepted.
Well, man, I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, I'll definitely heed that advice too. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to forget that what you're doing is kind of a miracle, and also how silly it is. Like I was thinking about, like I did like a really hard 50 miler a few weeks ago, and it was just like it just beat me up. A 50 mile in Indiana with 11,000 feet of vert is insanity for this part of the country. Yeah,
Wow.
a point to point. So there was like, um, yeah, I was relying on my own drop bags, but and now that was like the first time I ever really done anything like that. So I was like overthinking my drop bags. Turned out I didn't use half the stuff anyways that was in my drop bags. But and I remember just like I got kind of low, and I was just like, how think like, dude, what are you doing? Like, yeah, you signed up to like run through the middle of the woods through like 50 miles, like and climb these like crazy like shale scree like
Oof.
30 36-degree in like climb through like there's no switchbacks at all on the knobstone trail, But and I'm just like just thinking about how preposterous it is what I'm doing, and I just started like laughing at it, and it's like,
Yeah.
and that's what got me through like probably 20 miles of that thing. But just like how crazy is this what you're doing, like, and how grateful I was to be doing it. So absolutely gratitude, and yeah, staying present in the moment. Good advice. I certainly I've certainly used that too.
I mean, we
Um,
try, right? Like it's so
right?
I'm not gonna lie, like that doing that is so hard.
Yeah, there was almost some tears, and I was like kind of fed up for a little bit. But then once I like finally latched onto like, okay, I finally got through that.
Yeah,
But
sometimes I don't know, man. Like sometimes trail tears are good. And then it like just like lets you lock it the F in.
absolutely, so, yeah. Sometimes you have to get him out of the way. Do you ever just like this is something I've been doing lately, and I don't know if this isn't maybe closing advice for anybody that might be listening, but I will like let myself have like throw the fit. I'm like, all right, you've got like 5 minutes to feel sorry for yourself. And then when this 5 minutes is up, you have to move on. And it's funny how that actually works. I literally I'm like looking at my watch. You have 5 minutes to feel sorry and throw your little temper tantrum. So I'll just like be sad for 5 minutes, and then it's like funny how I can just like time's up, and then it's like you have to keep going. Like you can't drop here anyway. There's like 7 miles to the next aid station. So
Yeah. I like that. It's kind of like building in like a sleep schedule or like an eating schedule. Or you're like, I have a finite amount of time where it's just like, woe is me, let's throw a pity party and then like lock it the F in. Um, I
it
tend
doesn't
to
always
be,
work, but it doesn't always work, but sometimes it does.
I tend to be more introspective, I think. Like if I kind of catch my if it's not too bad of a spiral and I can kind of nip it in the bud, I'm like, why am I feeling this way? Like what is the reason behind like this anger or this like being a man child or being an asshole to my pacer, right? Like what is the cause of this? I'm like, is it food? Am I hangry right now? Do I just need to eat something? Like give me a Snickers, right? Or is this something like else? It's like, oh, I'm just trying to feel sorry for myself. Like, what is the emotion that I'm trying to work through that is coming out as XYZ symptom of me just being an asshole man child, basically? And like sometimes I can get really messy, but sometimes it's like kind of interesting. And so that's why I think that if you're open to it, sometimes like ultra running and trail running crazy distances can be an immense catalyst for self discovery.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I've learned so much about myself in those moments. It's I mean, like you said, it can be like somewhat awful, but it's like there's always even in like the lowest of lows that I've ever had, there's always like some nugget of this like, especially if you get through it, you're just like, I can get through this. Like I always have some sort of takeaway. It may not be like the most profound takeaway, but I always have a takeaway from those usually, especially if I can like get through. Um, but yeah, there is a lot to be learned. Like not everybody has to run ultras, but like if you can like push yourself in some way, there's like so much growth that can happen in like some of those, whatever it may be. It may not be ultra distance, but um, yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
Times.
Right. So Kevin, thank you so much for coming on. Like I
Yeah,
said,
thank you.
I I was on. Me and Jason had both been on your show. We talked. Me and Jason talked independently. We both were like really liked you and like being on the show. We enjoyed having you on Once the Earbuds. So naturally, I wanted to have you on Beyond the Finish Line. Uh, tell everybody where they can find you. Uh, highly recommend. Like I love the show. I'm like a fan. I'm a fan of the podcast, and
Oh,
I
thanks.
really, yeah, I really like what you're doing with like the social media stuff now too, because like I like the Hot Take Tuesdays. Those are really cool. Also, yeah.
Yeah, my handle on Instagram is Public Radio Runner, and that's probably the easiest way to find my show as well. So wherever you get your podcasts or music, if you type in Public Radio Runner, it should pop up my show, which is called Bonus Smiles. And I don't think that I like promote this enough, so maybe I'll like take the opportunity to do that now. If you're ever searching for human curated playlist, those exist on Spotify under also my name, Public Radio Runner. Um, Both Joe and Jason have made these. I'm still in production on your episode, sorry. Um, but there are maybe 15 or 16 playlists that are curated by human beings that get them through running, whether that's ultra distances or 5Ks or 10Ks. Like these are the songs that got them through. And sometimes metal sort of works.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, in many ways. But yeah, so awesome. Yeah, give Kevin a follow. Like certainly follow the podcast and give it a 5-star review. Like I can't like
Oh,
express. You know how it is. Like it's so like those ratings are so important to the show. So yeah, yeah. Thank you, thanks for having us both on. Like I said, it was a fun experience, and it like made me rethink some like you got me back into like thinking about like being more selective with playlists because it's like now we just have like the world music at our fingertips, so it's like so hard to like distill a playlist down. So it was like really cool to like really like think about a core of like just like a normal like 10 to 12 song playlist. I really enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, so like I said, Kevin, thank you for coming on. It's we'll have to have you on What's in Your Earbuds again someday for sure because that was a lot of fun.
indeed.
Uh, so
Love is a love song.
yeah, but yeah, it's been a blast having you on and getting to know you. I look forward to seeing more of what you're doing on social media and the podcast. Yeah, I mean, just keep crushing it, and you're going to get redemption. 226 miles is crazy to me. It's wild to me. I can't wait to experience it myself. Um, I'm glad. I'm glad. It sounds like you're probably on the mend, so that's good news too. But yeah, so everybody, thank you for listening, for tuning in. Like I said, always, I appreciate your time. Like this, this podcast is a labor of love. So when you give me an hour plus of your time, I take it very seriously, and I appreciate you all so much for doing so. Like I said, please keep sharing, rating, reviewing the show. The comments, you guys have been doing great at that. The YouTube comments have been coming in. We always try to reply to all those. Me and Jason both do. So thank you all for doing so, and I love you all dearly for doing this and being a part of the show. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on, and thank you all for listening. And I will see you next time beyond the finish line.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And Joe, thanks. Good to see you again. And
That's
so
good.
excited for Vol State. Man, I hope you have a blast. And well, day three magic, man. Day three magic.
I can't wait to get into magic. Cool. Well, thank you all so
All right.
much.
Take care.